But there's other things around structure as well. One of my little bugbears is I think we pray the Lord in English. I don't know how we pray it in Danish. I think in English we pray the Lord's Prayer wrong. We pray it incorrectly. Because the traditional English version says, "Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name." And we treat all of that as a kind of an introduction to addressing God. And then we say, "May your kingdom come, may your will be done on earth as it is in heaven." But actually in Greek, that's not what Jesus teaches. No. In Greek, he says, "Our Father in heaven," and then he says three things. Yes. "May your name be honoured, may your kingdom come, may your will be done." And in fact, in Greek, in the New Testament, in Matthew 6, each of those three phrases is exactly 4 words. And then in the second half of the prayer, each of the phrases is exactly 6 words. So when you look at it in Greek, first of all, you can see how incredibly carefully structured and constructed this is. So, some people say, "Oh, Jesus didn't give us the Lord's Prayer to memorize, it's just a pattern of prayer." And I would say, no, he gave it to us to memorize. It's got a rhythm and a structure to it in Greek, which makes it very, very memorable. But also from a theological point of view, I've got a sense sometimes that Christians say, well, as long as we're doing what God says, as long as we see sort of justice, that's what he wants, you can do that without necessarily preaching the gospel or inviting people to faith. Actually, I think Jesus doesn't allow us to get away with that, because the fact that may your name be honoured, may your kingdom come, may your will be done, I think shows us that, and you see this all through the Gospels, that actually acknowledging who God is, welcoming him as king in our lives, which is seeing your kingdom come, and enacting his will in the world, actually those three belong together. You can't separate them. You can't say, well, I'm just going to serve people and not talk about my faith, or not invite to church, or not talk about God. You can't. That's not possible. And I think this is just one little example where you see those 3 ideas integrated very closely together.
Thank you. I think that's very helpful. Even though I've read it in Greek, it is the same, basically the same form.
Yes, it's the same grammatical structure with the same number of words. Exactly.
It's an imperative, all of them.
Yeah, it is. Your name be honoured, your kingdom come, your will be done.
So it's a command to do these things.
Exactly.
It's asking God, do this in our lives, do this around us, do it through me. Which is really changes the thing that we think about. It's not just saying, God is our Father. No. Would you please do this through us, instead of thinking, oh, this is what it is. But it's a command, or asking God to do that as a command through our lives. And that is, I think that's very, very helpful.
Which means that we need to model honouring God's name, and we need to model, seeing his kingdom come and his will done. And this is what we're out and about in the world doing. So you can't separate. I mean, the World Council of Churches talks about the 5 marks of mission. The first one is proclamation, and then at the end you have tackling injustice and so on. And sometimes folks say, well, I'm not very good at the proclamation bit, so I'll just do the justice bit. You say, well, actually, they all belong together.
Exactly. The term that's been very popular in missionary studies, in like holistic mission. And that is exactly what we're just talking about. Is that you cannot do either. It will be some kind of strange ministry if you don't do all of
them together. So if you proclaim but you don't serve, that's only incomplete. But if you serve but don't proclaim, that's also only part of the job. And again, it's just that reading the text in Greek, you just can't avoid that. You can't fail to see that. Whereas in English, it's easy to misunderstand or separate these things out.
I think that's quite a helpful way of looking at it, and very poignant illustration of how the Greek can make us understand what was the intent that is not like maybe so carefully translated into language. I guess it's maybe the same in Danish, because I've not thought of it in the same way.
But it's also interesting. I've just done a bit of work on this and looked at other languages as well. And it's interesting that when I've looked at it, the Lord's Prayer in Spanish, French and German and Italian, then they do vary. So some of them are faithful to the Greek word order, and some of them, like the traditional English version, move away from it. So in each different language, people have taken a different approach to translation.
And also the thing is that we cannot always translate word for word. Semantic structures.
Exactly.
There's no, and that's another, I think, reason why we should learn Greek. We cannot, anyone who has a second language, no matter which language it is, will know that if you read anything or you say anything in that language, you cannot necessarily say the exact same thing.
No, you can't.
You might have.
Another.
Thank you for watching this clip. If you enjoyed it, You can find another one by clicking just over here. Or if you want to watch the full episode and dive a step deeper, you can find a link in the description below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.